Hello Nigeria, I am Becky Madujemu. Welcome to Newsline. I am excited about this edition of the program. You will have a splendid 1.5 hour with all the gripping stories coming soon. A pastor and a laborer got arrested in 2 different cities for same crime. The NTA has declared war on sexual predators, and we are committed to aligning with the law towards stopping the menace. In that direction is an update on the Uwa case, as well as developments on several hot topics started over the weeks. We also have corporate events and a long list of recent happenings with shocking endings. But let's open with the news of the day with Claire Adelabu Abdul-Razak. Hello, Claire.
Becky, good to see you, and welcome to Abuja, and here is the news. Now, delegates from the West African regional body ECOWAS met Mali's ousted president Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and members of the country's military junta on Saturday in a bid to push for a speedy return to civilian rule following a military mutiny in the troubled nation. 3 members of the delegation, led by former Nigerian President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, were granted access to Keïta. After meeting with the ousted President Keïta, former President Goodluck Jonathan told newsmen in very few words that negotiations are going well. No further details of the meeting was released. Now, the meeting held at an undisclosed location. In an earlier meeting held on Saturday, which lasted for half an hour, the ECOWAS envoys met with Mali's military junta, including new strongman Colonel Assimi Goïta. And back home, operatives of the Nigerian Police Force, or York State Command, have rearrested the notorious murder suspect Sunday Shodigbe, who escaped from lawful custody on August 11. He was rearrested today, Sunday, August the 23rd, by police operatives at the Bodija area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. In a statement signed by Force Public Relations Officer DCP Frank Mba, the Inspector General of Police commended the team for a job well done. The IGP equally extends his appreciation to citizens for their support and understanding during the manhunt for Shodigbe. Meanwhile, the IGP has warned against any form of complacency on the part of operatives of the Oyo State Police Command, stressing that all hands must be on deck to bring the case to a close. Now, in addition to the deployment of special troops to restore normalcy in southern Kaduna, the Nigerian Air Force has begun a 6-day medical outreach in the area. Abdullahi Mohammed reports that the medical outreach was declared open by the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar.
Most of them are displaced following the crisis, and now a sigh of relief. The Nigerian Air Force came calling with basic needs to keep the families above the threats of hunger and the comforts they require at their camps. It didn't end there. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has sent the Air Force's #1 medical personnel to lead a medical outreach. This is expected to reach about 3,000 displaced of the area who are being diagnosed and treated for various ailments.
The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, Distinguished Flying Star, felt that in his usual nature of being somebody who is very concerned about the plight of people, sent us here to bring out this medical outreach.
For the next 3 days, the displaced across Zonkua and environs will be treated and served relief materials, and same goes for those that are in Mariri, Kajuru local government area.
And we are also using this opportunity to call on all people of Zangon Kataf local government to ensure that they live in peace with each other and with their neighbors.
Religious and traditional rulers in the area have expressed gratitude for the succor which the Nigerian Air Force has brought to its people. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
And former Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, has called for stronger collaboration between government and the people towards restoring lasting peace among the diverse social, cultural and religious groups in Nigeria. But the former Emir made a call during an interaction with the Kaduna State Governor, Nasiru Ahmed Rufai, at the Government House in Kaduna. Mohammed Umar Al-Jingi tells us more.
It is the first visit of the former Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II to this part of the country since he was dethroned about 6 months ago. He is expected to spend a week in Kaduna for investment talks with organizers of the forthcoming Kaduna State Investment Summit and other officials of the Kaduna State University, being the chancellor of the institution. Muhammadu Sanusi says he is closely monitoring developments in Kaduna State, including security challenges, calling on all stakeholders to join hands with the government at all levels to combat the challenges without sentiments.
In the case of the crisis in Kaduna, first of all, it's something that predates this government. It's been on for a long time. And the governor is doing something about it for the first time in a long time. And the North as a whole suffers.
For Governor Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai, his social contract with the people of the state remains sacrosanct.
Kaduna State is very lucky to have His Royal Highness as the Vice Chairman of its Investment Promotion Agency because of his wide global network, his integrity and reputation, which has been recognized both within Nigeria and abroad.
While in Kaduna, the former Emir of Kano will engage the state executive members, prospective investors, and some other critical stakeholders on how to further move the state forward. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
And the United Nations International Day for the Remembrance of Slave Trade and its Abolition is observed to reawaken the consciousness of people on the dangers and effects of slavery on Africa and indeed the world. Our next special report is about that inhuman trade and its various evolutions, and Annie Daniels will take us through it.
It was an era where about 17 million people were transported against their will from Africa to North, Central and South America. This illicit trade lasted from the 16th to 19th century. Millions of Africans died while being transported to other countries. My respondents say it was the worst violations of human rights. More disheartening, they say, is that this illicit and inhuman trade still exists even among Africans.
It's very unfortunate that women see themselves as the weaker vessels. So they look at it like, I can use my body to get whatever I want, and that's why it's easy for them to become easy prey.
Slavery. Human trafficking ensures that you lose all your rights as a person. All the dignity is lost. The human trafficker does not have a sense of proportion to say, look, I have suffered this person enough. No, look, they use you. After a point, you are sold off to another person.
They suggest the way out.
We are telling people, be careful, be aware. Again, you see people saying, we'll give you a job of 300,000, 250,000 in United Arab Emirates. Watch it, watch it. You that you are talking of going to United Arab Emirates to work, what are your certifications? What certificates do you have? What are your competencies? We have had issues of people who cannot even write their names, and they are saying they are going to work. So what work are you going to do?
The theme for this year is Confronting Slavery's Legacy of Racism Together. Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And now more than 1.7 million new cases of coronavirus were recorded globally in the past week, with South Korea experiencing a resurgence of the disease. Time to join Joy Sumeto for a review of the corona pandemic.
In the outgone week, Nigeria saw an upsurge in the number of new coronavirus cases reported daily compared to the decreasing trend seen in the past 1 month. Latest statistics released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control shows that cases have reached 51,905, with 997 fatalities recorded. A review of the figures indicates that there have been a consistent increase in Nigeria's COVID-19 recovery rates as the number of patients treated and discharged now stands at 38,767. The country now has 12,141 active cases of coronavirus. In Africa, a total of 1,184,253 cases have been recorded. Worldwide, numbers by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. show that the global death toll from COVID-19 has exceeded 800,000. So far, 23,457,548 cases have been confirmed. Infection figures globally rose by 1.7 million, while more than 39,000 fatalities were recorded in 7 days. In other developments, Korea's Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has warned that South Korea is on the brink of a nationwide outbreak following the highest daily number of coronavirus cases recorded since March. And that's it from here. I am Joyce Ometu.
And Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has described as invaluable the benevolence of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, for donating about 4,000 metric tons of grains to Nigerian government to cushion the effect of the coronavirus pandemic. The minister stated this while receiving the food items in Kano. Yahanasu Hassan Barao tells us more.
Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development once again thank the ECOWAS Commission for the timely and generous provision of humanitarian assistance for distribution to the vulnerable impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria.
That was the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, expressing appreciation to the ECOWAS Commission for donating about 4,000 metric tons of grains to Nigerian government. She said, with what the federal government has been doing to support internally displaced persons and those affected by the coronavirus pandemic, this support will no doubt assist in reaching out to more beneficiaries. ECOWAS Commissioner for Agriculture, Environment and Water Resources, Sangare Seku, described the donation as a breathing solidarity mechanism and pledged the ECOWAS continued commitment to complement the present administration drive to promote agriculture.
The ECOWAS is engaged to continue this operation because it's very, very important for our responsibility.
Also in attendance to receive the benevolence were the Ministers of State for Foreign Affairs, Zubairu Dada, and that of State for Agriculture, Mustapha Baba Shehuri. In Kano, Yahana Sahasambaro, NTA News.
And the coalition of youths in Nasarawa State wants sustenance of government's economic interventions to promote welfare and income generation amid ease of lockdown from COVID-19 pandemic. Now we have details with Aliu Tijani Mohammed from Lafia.
The summit brought youth together to discuss their challenges and prospects towards contribution to nation building. It is also to discuss ways of ending violence and crimes in society. They also expressed the desire to be innovative in creating jobs rather than waiting for what is often referred to as white-collar jobs.
We believe that if the right steps are taken and the right actions are implemented, young people will turn the tide. This target group really need to be empowered, really need to build their capacity to take the lead.
Government of Nasarawa State says the huge population of youth in the state cannot be neglected as various initiatives are being worked out to provide the enabling environment for job creation.
This administration places high premium on youth development and empowerment as a prerequisite for wealth creation towards national growth and progress.
The government lauded the contribution of development partners on programs that are aimed at building capacity of youth in Nasarawa State. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
And the coronavirus pandemic has wreaked havoc on most aspects of human life. Now, the impact on education is even more visible as classrooms of the nation's universities remain closed since the outbreak of the pandemic. While many private universities managed to find a way around the problem through e-learning platforms, the public university system is virtually crumbling under the weight of the pandemic. Calvin Ebenwai reports on why e-learning remains a tall dream for most public universities in the country.
They are not only carrying on with teaching and learning, many have conducted examinations using relevant e-learning platforms.
We concluded our semester and then commenced the next one, which we are at now. And so it didn't disrupt our services at all.
If it is working for private institutions, why are the public universities struggling to adopt the same method, despite the Minister of Education's directive to vice chancellors to continue teaching online?
The infrastructure that leads to this digital technology we're talking are not even present in the federal universities. We talk of computer, we talk of even as small as Wi-Fi in the system are not there.
In Nigeria, we have a special case in the sense that, we have our academic staff that are continuing to, negotiate with government. So many of them are not working correctly because they're on strike. So that, I know, is one of the reasons many universities have not been able to do it.
Because COVID caught everyone unawares, it may take some time for authorities to provide the needed ICT infrastructure for e-learning, as well as training of lecturers who will deploy the technologies. But experts are confident that in the short run, they can leverage on the available distance learning facilities and still keep the integrity of their examinations intact. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
And in sports, Plateau United planning for CAF Champions League. For details of this and more, we join Amansi Marcus.
The Plateau State government is working towards refurbishing the Rampam Stadium in Jos to enable Plateau United host its continental